Hi, I'm Jean Schumacher. I'm founder of Simply Plant-Based, where I have a lot of resources to help you to support you on your plant-based journey. I'm also the co-founder of the Pregnancy Advantage to help you get your body pregnant ready. Or if you're having trouble conceiving, we can help you there too. Tonight, I have the absolute privilege of interviewing an amazing couple who has an incredible story. I wait till you hear this. This is going to blow you away. So, Fran and Bob, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me here tonight.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
We're happy to be here.
Very happy to be here.
Okay. Well, Fran, let's start with you. Before you began your plant-based journey, were you dealing with health issues or problems?
Well, everything seemed to be fine until the fall of 1992. We were living in South Florida, and I woke up one morning and I couldn't open one eye. So we went to our doctor, who we knew quite well. He took one look at me and he said, "I think you have Bell's palsy." And I said to him, "No, I think I have myasthenia gravis." Now, Jean, I have no idea where that thought came from because most people never even heard of myasthenia gravis.
I never heard of it.
Which is an autoimmune disease.
How did you know about that?
I don't know.
That's the weird
Intuition. I have no idea. At any rate, it's a Greek name, which means severe muscle weakness. And it couldn't be more aptly named because I experienced extreme muscle weakness. He sent me across the street to the neurologist. The neurologist gave me what's called a tinselin test. He gave me a shot in the arm, my eye popped open, and he verified that it was in fact myasthenia gravis. And I was put on prednisone and mestinon. They helped a little, but not a lot. And we were both working in real estate together at the time. And I was so sick over the next years that we actually had to quit working. I couldn't drive. There were times when I couldn't hold my head up. I could hardly talk. I couldn't eat because my muscles in my throat were so weak. And I saw many different doctors. By the way, you know what a placebo is? Mm-hmm. I was given a nocebo by my doctor. A nocebo is when the doctor gives you no hope. He said, it's incurable, you'll always be on medication, and it will shorten your lifespan. So that was my first, Then it was really weird, but I said to him shortly after, I feel a pressure in my chest. He said, I think there's something in there. And he said, you wouldn't be able to feel anything. I said, I feel something. So he sent me for a CT scan. And I'll never forget when the technician came out, he was white as a ghost. He said, your doctor will call you in an hour. I got a call and the doctor said that they found a growth on my thymus gland. And he sent me to a thoracic surgeon. And the thoracic surgeon said, I think it's lymphoma. And if it is, all I can do is close you back up again. And again, I don't know what it is about me, but I said, I don't think it's cancer. And I had a surgery, and they actually was like open heart surgery because I had to crack my breastbone open. It was very extreme. And it turned out that it was a cyst about the size of an apricot. And normally when people have their thymus gland removed with myasthenia gravis, they go into remission. I didn't. It didn't affect me positively at all. And I continued to be, I had tremendous double vision, so bad that they couldn't even put a prism in my glasses. And it was just a horrible experience. I felt like I lost 14 years of my life.
We went to, I'd say,
many different doctors.
10 or 11 different neurologists around the country.
Nobody ever mentioned diet, of course.
Yeah.
Just give you, more drugs. Then, now here we are in South Florida with the 3 counties having millions of people, never met another person with myasthenia gravis. In 2004, we moved to Hendersonville, North Carolina, for the summer. We were still living in Florida, but we got the heat is very bad for myasthenia. So the summers, I had to go someplace that wasn't so hot. So we moved to the mountains. First week here, Bob finds in the newspaper a myasthenia gravis support group right here in this little town.
We were shocked.
So we started going, and I saw a lot of really sick people that were going for, they were in the hospital like every week for transfusions and things. And of course, they were serving cookies and, chips
Soda
for
pop.
snacks and soda pop. And I really didn't learn anything at these meetings, but I went every month. And then finally, 1 month, they brought in a nutritionist from Asheville. And with a slide presentation, he showed that even something as harmless as white meat chicken compromises the immune system. And he recommended switching to a whole food plant-based diet. He recommended reading The China Study by T. Colin Campbell and Diet for a New America by John Robbins. I went home, read them both cover to cover, and decided to switch my diet completely. Now, at the same time that this was going on, Bob had developed a problem, and I'll let him tell you briefly what happened to him.
Yeah. I always tried to, I've always been somewhat slim, and I always try to keep in shape. And I met a group of young women who were trying out for the Olympic team, and they were race walkers. So they actually had this very hardy walk, and they taught me the technique, and we could actually walk faster than people were jogging. And so that kept me in shape, and I enjoyed being with these young women. And
were you able to keep up with the young women?
Not quite. I was able to follow them, but I did do about 8 or 10 miles every day on this same path.
Okay.
And then after they left, they dispersed and they went to the Olympic tryouts and such. I kept this up, but I tried a different route and a different surface. And after just a few days, I felt a discomfort in my groin. Well, nobody wants that. And I went to a urologist, and he checked me out. He said, I can't find anything wrong down there, but just to be sure, let's do a CAT scan. So I really didn't want the CAT scan, but he was very persuasive. I did the CAT scan. And sure enough, he saw that there was a growth on the outside of my left kidney. And he said, this looks really serious. I don't think I am qualified. You need a specialist. So I went to the Duke University Medical Center in Durham, North Carolina. It's a world famous center. The people from everywhere were there. And I connected with a specialist. There's only one of two people in the US at this time that could do this cryoablation surgery, where they actually froze the tumor off. They were afraid to do a biopsy while it was on my kidney, because if it was malignant, it would burst and spread. So they did the biopsy after they took the growth off. And he did come back and he said, you have renal cell carcinoma. You have kidney cancer.
And
because
it's off now.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, I've got it all. You've all heard that one before, but this is an aggressive type of cancer and it could come back. So we were 4 hours from our home. And as we drove home, and the doctor didn't say, well, you should do this or you should do that. He just said, get out there and live your life. But as we drove home, we made a commitment. We said we need to improve our lifestyle, even though it was pretty decent. We had a long way to go. And we said the first thing we're going to do is cut out all meat, dairy, and processed
All
foods.
animal products.
And we made this pledge to each other. And fortunately, we had each other. And
when you were at Rice, did they say to change your diet at all? Did they say?
no,
Oh, heavens, no.
No.
I'm surprised because Duke was renowned for their rice diet.
Never mentioned.
that's a good question. It wasn't mentioned, but we pledged to each other that we're going to take our health into our own hands here and do something about it.
Was this because of the presentation that you saw on going plant-based?
Well, that was part of it. Yeah, that and reading.
Otherwise, we really didn't know we were doing anything wrong.
And reading the books were eye openers for us. Then we start watching all the movies. Then we start actually putting this into our life, and we never looked back. So in short, I went plant-based to prevent this recurrence, to prevent disease to come back into my system.
Yeah.
Fran went plant-based to reverse her disease. She takes, no doctor actually believes that she is in total remission. And she has been for 15 years. Now she takes no medicine, none. And she looks great. We're both in our 80s, by the way. We're not kids. And we started this when we were 65. So it doesn't matter to the viewers out there if you're 28 or 82, you can improve your health just by eating veggies.
Grandma was right.
Absolutely.
Right.
You're exactly right. My grandmother was right, and so is yours, Jean.
Yeah.
So that's sort of our stories. We are feeling better than ever at our age. Our minds are sharp, and we're just living the third of our lives without being attached to doctors and tests and appointments and hospitals. None of that. And so life is good.
But I do get calls from my insurance company because they're afraid I'm not taking care of myself. And so they keep asking if they could send a nurse out to examine me, and they would give me a $25 gift card to Walmart. Honest. I said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, did you see when you went plant-based, Fran, did you start to see change? How soon was it before you started?
Okay, let me explain what happened. When I went plant-based, the neurologist that I was seeing started reducing the prednisone, but too quickly. And I was feeling like the myasthenia was getting worse. But fortunately, our son, who lives in California, we went to visit him, and he took me to his doctor near San Diego, who was the first plant-based doctor in Southern California. And he explained to me that the adrenals shut down from prednisone, especially over 14 years. So he said, first, I got to build up your adrenals, and then you can come off the prednisone slowly. So that took a matter of months. But in the meantime, I was following a plant-based diet. And 15 years ago, it wasn't nearly as easy as it is now, because there's so much out there, so many recipes, so many websites, so many books, everything.
But I must say that she improved very rapidly.
Yeah.
It was a very short period of time when she went from a point where she couldn't keep her head up to being
Climbing a mountain.
Yeah, to climbing a mountain here in North Carolina. So we are very fortunate, and it is.
But unfortunately, Jean, the people in the myasthenia group that I was friends with, none of them followed this protocol, and they all died within the next 2 years, but not from the myasthenia. They died from heart attacks or diabetes or cancer.
Yeah, their body.
Because when your body breaks down, it doesn't just choose one disease.
Yeah.
Makes room for a lot of them.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, who was the doctor?
Oh, in Southern California?
Yeah.
His name was Barnett Meltzer.
Okay. Wow. That is so progressive. I mean,
he was way ahead of his
before
time.
his time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you start to realize that when you start to change and put real fuel in your body, then your body starts to heal. And you're going to be releasing some of the toxins that are stored in your body. You know, even though you're thin, you still have a lot of toxins that have been stored. You're going to release some of those. And your body's going to feel not that great for a while until you heal. I compare it to, like, you know, when you skin your knee, you know, and your knee hurt. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
and you want to itch it, and it's painful when you move it, and it's like, but you keep treating it. You know, you take care of it. You clean the bandage and change it and whatnot, and then the next thing you know, your leg is healed, and then it doesn't hurt anymore. And that's kind of what your body was going through.
Right. We were very fortunate a few years ago to have a whole food plant-based doctor move to Hendersonville. And we started seeing him. And the first thing that he did was give us a homework assignment to read Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Caldwell Esselstyn.
Yeah.
Because up until then, I was using a lot of olive oil, you know, because olive oil is supposed to be so healthy. But I didn't realize what a waste that was. And so we stopped using it, and I lost 10 pounds. I didn't need to, but I did. And I'm eating more now, and I never gained any of it back. And we really don't miss the oil at all.
Yeah.
So we believe in the SOS, no salt, oil, or sugar. It may sound a little daunting to some of your viewers out there that might be thinking about going plant-based or maybe off the wagon right now or unsure, but it's not. So we always say, you know, eat like your life depends on it, because
it does.
And so if you want to, you know, we have this saying sort of, people seem to think that as you grow older, you're going to get sick.
It's expected.
And that's really
Wrong.
not true. That is not true. And, you know, if you want to keep telling yourself that, well, it'll probably happen. But we don't think that is the case. We've seen it so many times. We've been fortunate enough to do a lot of talks to groups about plant-based eating, and we have seen people recover from diabetes,
type 2 diabetes,
in a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
And weight loss, dramatic weight loss. So is it daunting? It's really not. And I tell you, Fran used to be like a so-so cook.
I was a terrible cook.
Well,
because all we ate was grilled chicken, grilled fish, you know, boring, tasteless.
Well, now Fran this has become a passion, and her hobby is cooking. And I am fortunate because my hobby is eating. And so every meal is like fun and experimental. And we do a lot of international dishes. I should say Fran does. I do the dishes afterwards.
Dishwasher.
Yeah. Life is good being plant-based. One
thing we never eat is just a steamed rice with vegetables.
No, people think that that's all we eat. I wanted to make one other point. I think plant-based eating is a very big key to healthy aging. And Fran and I are that's sort of our niche, is healthy aging. But it is very important, in our opinion, to combine this with other life strategies. So you can be a healthy eater, but if you really want to be healthy, you should eat healthy. You should exercise every day, every single day. And so that combination doesn't get any better than that.
Well, I'm going to throw out one more piece, because you need to get the toxins out of your life too, because that is what I call it the trifecta, because you have to change what goes in. So that's food and drink, you know. Then you have to change what goes on. So that's the personal care products, or like laundry detergent, things like that, fabric softeners, things like that. You got to change that. You've got to change that, because there's so many chemicals out there that will interrupt your endocrine system. And a lot of these things are bioaccumulative that will accumulate and store in your body. So that you're right, diet, woo, that's a big one. Okay. Exercise takes that to Jedi level. But if you really want to get to the crux of it, you've got to get the toxins out too.
Absolutely.
It's a very good
And
point.
we use
Jean.
only natural products.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to put a plug in for the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org. They have an app called Healthy Living. Are you familiar with it?
I've seen it. I'm not that familiar with it.
Okay, well, you can download it on your phone. And what it does is they've got several databases that they rate products on a scale of 1 to 10 for personal care products like shampoo and deodorant, toothpaste, things like that. And so they rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. So it's a good place to start to check your products out, because most people don't understand or realize how many chemicals they're being exposed to on a day-to-day basis, without question. And so it's a good place to start. I don't agree with them 100% on some of their analysis and how they break things down, but it's a fabulous place to start, because there's a lot of chemicals out there like parabens and phthalates. I mean, these are chemical families that you just you can't have them in your life. And they're very good at, they hide them. You know, here's an example. One of my girlfriends came over. She's very concerned about toxins and personal care products. So she's very careful about what she buys. You know, she looks at the labels, she reads them, and so she found this deodorant, and it was one of these types of crystals. And she came over, she says, I gotta show you something. And I said, okay, come on over, I'm home. And she pops over and she shows me underneath her underarm, and it was like on fire. And it was bright red. I mean, just bright red. So irritated. I said, what are you using for deodorant? And she says, oh, I got this at the natural grocery store, the local one. And I'm going to say, okay, let's stop right there. Just because it comes from one of the, health food stores doesn't mean they usually have better quality stuff, but it doesn't mean it's going to be toxic free. You have to do your homework. So she says, well, I got it right here. She pulls it out. And on the front, it's like, sulfate free, paraben free, this free, that free, that free. And on the back, I look at it. The first ingredient I said was aluminum. And she says, no, it doesn't. It says right here, there's no aluminum. I said, no, let's be clear. It says no aluminum chlorohydrate. And on the back, what they did is they wrote the common name. They said potassium alum as the first ingredient. And in parentheses, they wrote mineral salts. And she says, but mineral salts, those are natural. And I said, that should be good for you. And I said, well, arsenic is a mineral salt and it's natural and it's not good for you. So there's some things that are okay for the human body and some things that aren't. So you again, they know how to hide things. They know how to trick you. So potassium alum is short for potassium aluminum silicate. So there's different types of salts. Okay. So it's knowing this background. So, that deodorant may have gotten rated pretty low on the EWG, but it still contains aluminum.
Yeah.
So,
one problem I have found as we get older is we're outliving some of the natural companies that we used to buy from.
Well, I have to put a plug in. If anybody's interested, Pure Haven, oh my gosh, I can't say enough about the products. And if anybody needs help or has like skin issues or like psoriasis or things like that, oh my God, these products are amazing. They have all kinds from skin products, and they've started adding pre and probiotics to their formulas. They do not use any kind of chemicals in there. I mean, all the ingredients are almost all plant-based. It's incredible. So it's an amazing company. Anyway, I digress. But so did the doctors along your way, did they help support you in the change to your diet? What did they say to you along this journey?
Well, we only, this last doctor who moved to our town is very much into.
Well, he's whole food plant-based.
He's whole food plant-based 100%. Every other doctor we saw on Fran's health journey and on mine really didn't talk about food. You know how a doctor, when you make an appointment, they want you to bring your pill bottles in. And so they'll see what kind of pills you're taking.
But
they don't talk about what you're putting in your mouth. They don't talk about diet. So
that's because mostly doctors don't know the first thing about nutrition.
Yeah, they're not really
so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. But I will say on the positive side, we see that there are more and more young doctors who are getting into this mode. And we know that they might be called
There's lifestyle medicine.
Lifestyle medicine doctors, and we see this as a movement that's happening. So we're keeping the faith, and more people are going plant-based. There's more people talking about it, and there's more doctors going into this field. So the future looks pretty darn good.
Right. And it's not just for our health, but it's the health of our planet as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally right.
Absolutely. But, you know, as long as the medical schools are financed by the pharmaceutical companies, it's going to be a rough road.
It is. It is. But I've got hope, you know, PCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine.
Yeah.
I've got Sarai Stancic, who is the director
Yes.
of medical education. So
Yes.
they're making great roads to success. Dr. Michael Clapper has been going around lecturing to
Yes.
universities, and, you know, all the old crocs in the back are like, you know,
Yeah.
and young doctors who are just getting trained are like,
Right.
hey, this could be something here.
Yeah.
You know,
It's going to change.
it is going to change.
They
And-
have to change.
Right. And we have to, because we can't sustain what we're doing. Because when you start to look at it, I mean, think about this. Take a trip next time you're in the grocery store or you know, your box pharmacy. Take a trip down this aisle, and this will blow you away, because adult diapers. Okay, think about that. Right?
Oh, of course.
Because it started out to be a small section of the pharmacy. Now, at least in my town, in my pharmacy, it's a whole aisle. It's a whole
Oh
Really?
my
aisle.
goodness.
Okay. And so
Interesting.
in every place that I've gone, because I made kind of like a little informal study of this, any town that I've gone into, I kind of just take a look for it and see, and it's like a whole aisle. And the reason for that, if you stop and think about it, is protein. So since 1950, the baby boomers are hitting their 70s. And, you know, we've been pushing protein since the 1950s, you know, 2 chicken in every pot, you know, that kind of thing. We've been pushing protein. You got to have your protein every day. And it's become an obsession. And if you consume too much protein, it's going to have an impact on your kidneys. Incontinence is not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal as you age. It's not normal. But
We get it.
yeah. So we're starting to see that. We're starting to see a lot of people wearing adult diapers and buying them, because it's
Yeah.
a big industry now. So
Yeah,
we
I
had
can't
just
understand
one-
why anybody would want to drink a protein powder when all you need to do is eat fruit and vegetables.
I know. And most people, when they first ask me, you know, when they find out about my lifestyle, because like within the first 10 seconds, you're going to find out about my lifestyle without question.
You're going to make
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely. All I can think of is Dr. McDougall and I, we're kind of like similar personalities. I'm going to be in your face. And
Yeah.
so, you know, people that, you know, the first thing is like, so where do you get your protein? And I'm not that shy butterfly that's going to sit on the wall going, well, it seems to be working for me. I'm like, yeah, no, I come right back with, well, do you even know how much protein you're supposed to have? Because that usually shuts them up right away, because they don't know, but they're concerned about me getting protein when they don't even know how much protein they're supposed to have, and that they're consuming way too much protein for their body to handle.
Yeah.
And the damage that they're doing to their bodies, they have no clue, because you don't see this, you don't see the cause and effect. You don't eat it, and then the next minute you don't feel well. It takes a long time. You just don't wake up sick, you know, like long-term chronic illness. You've been working on it for a while, you know? So when I see it at one end of the spectrum with, you know, things like autism, to the other end of the spectrum, you see it with, you know, Alzheimer's and dementia. Oh my gosh. My mother-in-law went in at 72 with full-blown dementia, Alzheimer's, and went into the nursing home at the sum of $4,000 a month. And we had to prove that we could pay for 5 to 7 years, because that's the average lifespan when you go in for Alzheimer's. 79, she passed away, 7 years, right in that average. And it was up to $9,000 a month. So it had gone from $4,000 a month out of pocket to $9,000 a month for her care. So, yeah. So on one end of the spectrum, 1 out of 54 children are autistic. And then the other end of the spectrum is autism. So, you know, who's going to pay for this? Who's paying for this? Because if you can't afford that $4,000 a month, up to $9,000 a month, and that was not in a big city, it was more like, small town. So it wasn't as expensive as like, large cities. But still, that took my breath away, and pretty much my father-in-law lost pretty much everything. They had to sell the house, and, he moved in with my sister-in-law, it pretty much bankrupted him, till the end. So, back to you. So tell me, what are you most proud of?
I think
that we outlived our doctors.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I think
That
another
is
thing,
awesome.
I like that answer.
That's a good
I
one.
think for me, I agree with my wife on that, but I'm proud of the fact that when COVID came in, we've been retired for many years, many years, and we were like full-time volunteers every day. When COVID came in, it stopped all our interaction with people, serving people, helping people, volunteering, and so on. So we thought, how can we manage this? How can we be at home in self-isolation at the time and help people somehow? And for some reason, YouTube popped into my mind. So we started a YouTube channel. I didn't know much about YouTube. I didn't know how to edit. I barely knew how to use the camera on my phone. But now I'm a video editor. Our YouTube channel actually is seen by thousands of people, nowhere near the size of Jean's. But
all over the world.
But the thing is, we're able to help them make talks conversations like we're having right now, giving them ideas on how to improve their health, how to age healthfully. And this is a win-win situation. They benefit by listening to us and adopting some of our actionable ideas. And we are more benefit by the gratification we get from all of this. And I think Jean can certainly identify with what we're saying here. But that's what it really makes me feel good that not only have we improved our health, we're able to help others with that same health journey.
A lot of people, they can't do it. They won't do it. But for those people who have done it, it's so gratifying. We got a letter today from a man.
We were crying.
That was just amazing how he has been able to change his health around with a whole food plant-based diet.
Yeah. So that was a good question, and I was glad that we answered it.
Okay. Well, give us a day in the life of Bob and Fran. What do you have for breakfast? What's a standard breakfast? A good lunch, dinner? What do you do?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we just did today. We have this thing called an hour of power. So every morning, the first thing we do is try to take care of our bodies. So we do some stretching. I advise everyone to just stretch out, and then we either walk.
Well, first we drink a glass of water with the juice of a lemon.
Oh, that's the first thing. So that helps flush you out. Well, that's probably the second thing after we use the bathroom. So, but after the stretching, then we do some aerobic exercises. The easiest one to do is to get out and walk. So a brisk walk is great. Today, we're retired, so we don't have to run to work. And so we have like a 2-hour of power.
Yeah, our hour of power is about 120 minutes.
So we hiked on a mountain today, which we do most every day. That's our treadmill here, living in the mountains in North Carolina. And so, it was just about an hour and a half. But boy, it gets your heart going. It's great for your bones and joints.
It's great to be outdoors.
And connecting with nature, fantastic. When we come back, we then sit quietly. We try to do a little meditation every day to sort of just refocus ourselves. We say our gratitudes. We think this is very important. And so we do that in the mornings. We just sort of recite what we are grateful for. They could be big things, they could be little things. And then we have a healthy breakfast. So Fran could talk a little bit about the breakfast. We usually have a similar breakfast
during the week,
every day.
We usually have pretty much the same breakfast. Homemade granola And I add to it a heaping tablespoon of ground flaxseed meal for omega-3s, and fresh fruit tend to be red, white, and blue, like bananas, raspberries, and blueberries. And we do have some coffee, decaf. That's pretty much our breakfast every day because we really like it. Sometimes we'll make a hot oatmeal. I buy the organic oats. I'm not a real stickler for everything organic, but whenever possible, especially those items that tend to be genetically modified more in this country, especially soy and corn products.
Yeah.
I only buy organic. Lunch is usually,
Oh, I like lunch today.
today was really good.
What was that?
Tuna salad.
Untuna salad.
Ooh, mock tuna, yum.
Yeah, with chickpeas.
And then we had a leftover baked potato.
Oh yeah, I know what to do with it. So I sliced it and I pan fried it without oil, just heated it up, and it was delicious.
Oh man, it was a great lunch.
And then dinner, what I like to do is I got an Instant Pot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
at first I only made rice in it because I didn't know what to do with it.
But
But now
now,
I make all kinds of wonderful things. And I had made a vegetable stew. It was so delicious. So I'll make a big pot of something and freeze half of it right away. That way down the road, I've got a meal. So I knew what we were going to be with you tonight. So I defrosted it this morning and heated it up
fantastic.
with a salad, chunky bread. And for dessert, we had chocolate zucchini muffins.
Made out of
Ooh.
zucchini.
It's funny because when I first saw the recipe, I thought, zucchini in a muffin?
Oh, it was
And
fantastic.
the first time I ever served it was to a friend of ours who's 91 years old. And he and his wife, they've been plant-based for many years.
He's a physician as well.
He's a retired physician.
Yeah.
They came over for lunch. When I said I got zucchini muffins for dessert, he said, I don't like zucchini. And then he proceeded to eat 2 muffins. They're delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Fran, as I said earlier, we
We
eat great. It's just fun.
we eat lots of international foods.
Yeah.
We lived in Thailand for 9 winters, so we love Thai food. I have enchiladas in the refrigerator for tomorrow night. We like Indian food. If it's ethnic, we love it.
Yeah. No, I have to agree. And I've been able to modify a lot of the recipes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
lived overseas for a long time myself. And, some of my favorite dishes I've been able to modify and,
Exactly.
make a healthy version. So
Did you say you lived overseas?
I did.
Where?
I lived in Central and South America.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
I
so-
lived in Venezuela, Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, and Honduras.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
So yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Loved living overseas. And it's interesting because when I see South Americans, because around especially where I lived in Westchester before I moved up to Cape Cod, you would see like pockets, like one country like Ecuador would leave, like one person would land, and then the town, this whole area would come. Like, yeah, we found a place. And they would move, like the whole town would come and take over another town. And so like this one area would be like from Ecuador, another one would be from Peru, another town would be from Colombia. And it's just so interesting. And it's all of them, as soon as they would come here, they would start the sad diet. And because they're poor people, they immediately gain weight and they become roly-poly rotund. And then they start type 2 diabetes right away.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
so,
we agree.
and that was one of the things I'm working with Doctora Maria Jose de la Fuente from Bolivia. We're working on a program for Latinos.
Oh,
Wonderful.
So,
that's
Yeah.
a very big problem because
It is.
we have a huge Latino population here because we're in an agricultural area and
It's not.
very overweight. But it reminds me when we first went, we used to go to Chiang Mai, Thailand, which is in northern Thailand. The first year we went, in the time we were there, I saw one overweight Thai person. By the 9th year, our last year that we went, school children were wearing huge uniforms. These kids were obese because they were adopting the sad diet.
It's true.
You know what they would eat ice cream sandwiches, which would be 2 pieces of white bread with ice cream in the middle.
Yeah, it was not good.
It's a bad thing to adopt from America.
Right?
did
Not a
wanna-
diet.
I would like to say that if any of your viewers are interested in some of Fran's recipes, she's got a whole bunch of them on our website at bobandfran.com. It's all free. There's a lot of resources on the website, but some really good recipes.
Yeah,
there.
and by the way, I like easy recipes, so
Right.
don't be afraid of them.
Well, what's your YouTube channel?
Oh, thanks for asking that. We're excited about that. It's been a very motivating thing for us. It's called Young at Any Age. So if you go to YouTube and you search within YouTube, you could either put in Young at Any Age, so it's about healthy aging, or our names, Bob and Fran, and it'll pop up. And we've got a couple hundred different videos that are, I think, you'll find very interesting.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, what advice can you give to those who are just starting out plant-based?
Yeah. I think the thing is you have to have an open mind. Don't say to yourself, I can't do it, because if you keep saying that, you won't do it.
Right.
But if you have an open mind, even to try it, you might want to try it just for, say, 45 days. Just give it a whirl. We think what you eat reflects how you will look and how you will feel. If you eliminate or at least cut back on your meat intake and your dairy intake, and we prefer you eliminate it for just 45 days, you'll see dramatic results for whether it's weight loss or reversing some kind of an illness.
It's true.
By the way, we're in our 80s, and we were talking this morning. We cannot remember the last time we even had a cold. So if you want to improve your immune system, if you do not want to get sick, plant-based diet is the way to go. So just give it a try, be open-minded, and don't say no. Sort of reminds me of a friend of mine who I remember asking him if he would want to join us to go to an Indian restaurant up in Asheville, which is close to us. Oh, I don't eat Indian. I can't do. Well, have you ever tried Indian food? Well, not really. So, don't say no until you try it. It's not that hard to do, and plant-based eating will change your life forever. Guaranteed.
It's true. Fran, what do you got? What advice can you give?
Well,
My book.
oh, buy our book.
Oh, okay. 101
They
ways.
look like us.
Yeah, it looks a little like us.
I used to wear glasses before cataract surgery.
Okay. Well, excellent. That's good advice there. Excellent. So, well, thank you so much for sharing your story. What an amazing story. So powerful. And I'm glad that we could share this information with people, because you're right. I mean, clearly getting older does not mean getting sicker.
Exactly. Gina, we want to thank you right now for doing what you do every day of your life. You're devoting yourself to helping people. It's true. It goes beyond just plant-based food with you. I know you're a scientist as well as an educator, and you're still going strong. And we admire that. And it's been our honor and pleasure to be with you tonight and to share some of our stories and some of our tips with your viewers.
Well, thank you so much. It's an amazing story. So thank you.